I haven't done any of that perfectly. I've never had perfect sales funnels. I've never had, a massive team. I've never done anything perfectly in my business, but I've just done stuff. I've tried stuff, and I think that's the key. You have to sort of go, why not me? I'm just going to try it and see.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm your host, Karen Yankovich, and I am excited to have our guest with us today. We have Denise Duffield-Thomas with us today. And Denise is the money mentor for the new wave of online entrepreneurs who want to make money and change the world. She helps entrepreneurs like you charge premium prices, release the fear of money, and create first-class lives. She's got books. Her books, Lucky Bitch, Get Rich Lucky Bitch, and her newest, Chill and Prosper, give a fresh and funny roadmap to living a life of abundance without burnout. Her Money Bootcamp has helped over 10,000 students from all around the world. She's a lazy introvert, a Hay House author, and an unbusy mother of 3. She lives on the east coast of sunny Australia with her family and 2 fur babies. Denise, it is so great to have you here. It is so great to be finally having a conversation with you.
I know. Thank you so much for having me, Karen. As you were reading my bio, I was like, I need to update that because I actually have 4 fur babies.
Oh my goodness. Yes. You have 2 fur babies who are feeling left out now. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's a lot of that's a lot of living, breathing things to take care of. 3 kids and 4 fur babies.
Yep.
That's so funny. So we've known each other for a long time, and I love your work. I've got all your books. I've read all your books, and I love your kind of like down to earth approach with all of this. I think that the way you approach what you do is in such a way that it feels like it feels attainable. It feels doable. It feels achievable, and I love that about your work.
Well, thank you. I think that's, for me, I love talking about money. I love it. But I think at the start, when I first started to learn about things like the law of attraction and personal development, I felt like I wasn't good enough or smart enough to talk about money. And I wanted to create communities where it was just normalized and we didn't have to feel embarrassed about talking about money. And so I'll still tell people, sometimes I release my tax returns. I talk very honestly about all the mistakes that I have made as, let's face it, a new money person. Right? Nouveau rich person. And I think that's really important for us women, is that we've always been so good about sharing out about our lives and being so honest and vulnerable with each other. And if we can do that with money, with business, we can only help each other to make that a normal conversation.
Yeah. And
not only
normalizes
for ourselves, but for the kids who are watching too.
Yeah. And, it normalizes it. And as an entrepreneur, right? My family, none of my family is entrepreneurs. They all have paychecks and pensions and health benefits paid for the rest of their lives and all those things. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to about these kinds of things except my entrepreneur friends, because my family didn't get it. Like if I whine, as I have been known to do, about how hard it is to have good health benefits in the US without paying, an arm and a leg for them, they're like, well, go get a job, and then you'll have those health benefits. So they just don't get it. Right. How could they? So having a community like the kinds of communities that you create, or having conversations, normalizing these conversations in the entrepreneur community, I think is so helpful for so many of us that have to have these conversations. We have to. Somebody told me one time, even though you earn, it's not a difference in earning your paycheck or earning, your money, your income as an entrepreneur. But for when you get your paycheck every Friday or whatever, it just gets deposited into your account. As an entrepreneur, you have to ask for every dime that you have, right? Like it's somewhere along the line, there was an ask for that. And that's a mindset shift as well as a strategy. So Denise, I have actually a little bit of a funny story.
And I think that is the hardest thing.
Denise, I have a pretty funny story about when I was literally in the middle of reading one of your books. I don't remember. It might've been Get Rich Lucky Bitch. I don't remember, but I was reading one of them. And in the book, maybe you'll know which book when I say this, in the book, you talk about like just celebrating everything that comes your way. If somebody leaves a pen at your house and you have a new pen, celebrate that you've just manifested this new pen, right? Like all the things, celebrate all the things. So I was driving, and I live in New Jersey, and in New Jersey, you're not allowed to pump your own gas. You have to pull up to a gas station attendant, roll your window down, and somebody says, tell them what you wanted. And for whatever reason, I said to the attendant, I don't remember what the number was, but I was putting it on a card and I was like, put $20 in, whatever on this. And I handed him the card. So he comes back to me and he says, "It is your lucky day." I said, "Why? What do you mean?" He says, "I swiped your card. I put $20 in." He goes, "Every single time I do that, I put the number $20 in and I swipe your card. It bills you $20 and it gives you $20 worth of gas. But you got $20.05 worth of gas." He goes, "And I don't know why and I don't know how, but somehow you got an extra 5 cents worth of gas." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll take that 5 cents. I will celebrate that 5 cents, and he was, because he was so funny about it. He was like, "I never saw this happen before. You're so lucky." I'm like, "I am lucky. Thank you for that 5 cents worth of gas." But it is about paying attention. Like are you paying attention to where the 5 cents worth of gas, or are you paying attention to the lack, right? And where you pay attention, that's what follows, right? Is what you're paying attention to. So, I know your story.
So important in that, right?
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about how you started in this work? Because you mentioned that you weren't born to this, right? That you call yourself nouveau riche, right? So, how did you start with this work?
So I grew up, as I said, east coast of Australia, to a very, very young single mum. So my mum was 17 when she had me. My mum and dad had a very volatile relationship. He was only very young as well. And so all I remember from my early years was we moved around a lot. And my little brother came along, and it was literally just moving every couple of months. But what's fascinating about my mum, she's actually the lucky bitch. Like I write about being a lucky bitch, but she kind of raised me with this mentality, I think, of easy come, easy go, money's here, it'll just show up when we need it. And that's kind of what our early life was like. And she was very easy breezy with stuff. And funnily enough, now she lives in a motorhome. She's in Bali at the moment. She just travels around. And that's kind of what our life was like. And she would just have these windfalls out of the blue. Like she would always win the meat tray at the raffle. I don't know if you guys do that, where you could win a meat tray or a fruit platter, or you could win whatever.
Right.
She won money on the slot machines every now and again. She's just such a lucky person. But it was very up and down, very feast or famine, right? And I didn't have any role models of even people who went to university, or even really people who had like a real job, let alone entrepreneurship. So I think from an early age, I saw what lack of money could create in your life, which was insecurity, and also lack of power, because this is the 80s we're talking about, right? So it's not like my mum could really start a side hustle at home when we're asleep, which we can do now, which I'm so thankful of. And so my mum, my auntie, my grandma, they were all in bad relationships because of money. And they would all look at me all the time and say, "Never trust a man, make your own money, do your own thing." And so I think I had this seed inside of me from a young age to say, I have to do this myself. I have to be responsible. I have to make my own money. And so I was a bit of an entrepreneurial kid. And I think one of the first seeds for that was reading the Babysitters Club series, which so many kids of the 80s did.
Yeah.
And this idea that you could earn your own money. So I started just little side hustles, I guess. As a little kid, I was selling bracelets. I would try and do a garage sale. I did a little bit of babysitting. And I think that was just, again, that hunger for me of I have to make my own money. I spent my 20s really searching for what that was. I had kind of saw a little bit of this world of coaching, but I didn't know that you could really make that into a job. So I went from job to job in my 20s, really searching for my thing, like literally doing every personality test and what am I here to do? And when I found the world of coaching, particularly the world of online coaching and online businesses for women, which my first entree into that was Ali Brown, who was amazing. I won a ticket to her conference, and it was just like, oh my God, there are other women doing this. So I think I started very generically as a life coach, and then very quickly realized I loved talking to entrepreneurs. So I moved into business coaching. And the thing that came up again and again with all of my clients was this fear around money.
Yeah.
Not wanting to say our prices, not wanting to talk about money. And I think it was a bit of a natural progression for me to go, well, why are we not allowed to talk about it? And I think my own curiosity led me to marrying some of the personal development tools I'd been learning for a long time and going, are we allowed to apply this to money? What if we talked about forgiveness and money? What if we talked about visualizations and money? All the things that were kind of easy to talk about in the woo-woo spiritual world or the personal development world. And it was just a huge, I think, eye-opening thing to say, oh wow, this actually does work for us to make friends with money. Like women talk about everything honestly and openly. And it led to my first Money Bootcamp, which was 13 years ago now. And then I just kept on going with it. I was like, oh, people like this. Oh, let's do it again. Let's do it again. And as you said, 10,000 students later, that's what I'm doing.
Let's talk about that for a second, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today, because 13 years you've been running Money Bootcamp, and there are very few people, especially entrepreneurs, that are still doing today exactly what they were doing 13 years ago. And I'm sure you're not doing exactly what you were doing 13 years ago, but you built your program, you owned, that it was your what you're good at, your zone of genius, and then you're still running it. And to me, that's huge. That's huge. There's so few people doing that. So were there ever times that you were like, okay, it's time to sunset this and create a new program? Or, tell us a little bit about that.
Every day I have that feeling, not because it's great, not because it's not getting people results, because I'm an entrepreneur. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for us, is that we have squirrel brains, right? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we do. So I'll tell you, I think the way it's worked for me. One, I've always been incredibly consistent in my business, not in my personal life. So I've always embraced things like batching content and batching marketing. And I think that gives you a little bit of distance. I think that you are not your business. And I learned this from the great coach and spiritual mentor, Hero Boga.
Oh, yeah.
When I worked with her a few times, she's amazing, right? She really had to teach me to energetically separate myself from my business. And once you do that, you realize I don't need to get all of my excitement and creativity through my business, because the business exists to do that for clients. And I think when we're so intertwined with our business, we feel like if I have a bad day and I don't feel like doing work, which is very normal in any job, doesn't matter how much you love your job, there will be days where you go, I don't want to do this.
Yes.
And what entrepreneurs do is go, well, that means now I have to do something else. That means I have to throw it all in the bin. And I've just, because I learned that from her, I could go, well, that doesn't matter. And it's fine that you're bored with it today, but just wait till tomorrow. And it's always been one of those things like, quit it tomorrow, burn it all down tomorrow. Just don't do it today.
Right.
And what I've had to learn, especially now where I'm kind of definitely in the mature stage of the business, right? And this is where people either decline or they start something new. And where I've had to channel my energy now is into my personal life. So I get my excitement and energy from, I do adults ballet, I do adults tap, I make costumes and all these fun things, because I'm like, no, but the business is good. The business can help people. The business doesn't have to fulfill all of my personal excitement and newness, if that makes sense. So that really helps. Destroy it tomorrow, burn it down tomorrow. Just don't do it today.
Oh, that's great. That's such good advice. Yeah. And, that's one of the beauties about being an entrepreneur, right? We might work, we can work on a Saturday if we want to take Friday and, go to the beach with our kids, right? So it doesn't mean you have to replace it. Sometimes you just can have a week where you work a little bit less, right? So I didn't get to do that when I was in corporate, right? I had to be there every day. So that's to me, one of the best parts about it. That's really why I did this, because when my kids got old enough for them to be on their own, and I remember thinking, like, when they have kids, I want to be able to be there for my grandkids, like my mother and mother-in-law were when my kids were little. And at the way that I was working at the time, I wasn't going to be able to be, because I had to be at work every day, right? So I said, well, what does it look like if I, what would I have to build? And that to me, creating like, what does your life look like? And then building your business around that, it can be done. It absolutely can be done. As a matter of fact, I'm going to state this, and now I have to make it happen. The episode that's coming out right before this episode. So you guys, I don't remember what this number will be, but go back to last week. I did an episode on 50 ways you can turn your paycheck skills into an entrepreneurial skill. Like, go back to work if you need to go to work. I am so cool with that. But if you're feeling the pull, then, you don't have to learn something new. You don't have to do something new. You probably already have the skills. It's just, how can you turn that into a profitable or a profit-making service, right? So, and I think, and that will allow you, it's certainly not easy all the time, right? But it will allow you to work on your own terms and your own hours. Doesn't mean you're going to work less, that's for sure. At least for me in the beginning, it didn't mean that at all. But, thankfully it does now. So, I get to do that. The other thing that you talk about in your bio that I think is important is premium prices. And, I like to call it, like, when I work with people, I want to flip the funnel. Like, what is the most highest price thing you can have? Like, let's create that first. It doesn't mean you don't have to create sales pages for it and a million things for it. You just have to know what it is, right? Like, if you're a coach and you have a 3-month coaching package and it's, $3,000 for your 3-month coaching package. What if you front load that 3-month coaching package with a VIP day? Now maybe it's a $7,000 coaching package, right? And you're still doing exactly what you did, and you're giving maybe more value because you can do in one day what was going to take you 2.5 months with the same client to even get to, right? Now you can start from that space. So to me, premium prices doesn't have to mean just overcharging. It could be creating premium packages. And I believe the world we live in right now, people want that. They want more high touch, which requires premium prices.
Yeah, it does. I just want to say as well, that episode sounds amazing. Can you please make sure that when that goes live, you send that to me as well? Because I know my audience will absolutely love
I will.
that.
And Denise, it came from a Facebook post. I saw a Facebook post that somebody was like, I am leaving, maternity leave is over. I have to go back to work. I can't believe I have to go back to work. What are you guys all doing instead of going back to work? And I was like, you know what? I need to do an episode on this. So anyway, I will let you know. It'll be out. What is it? I would say it'll be out soon, maybe the early September, if not the end of August. So it'll be out soon.
Perfect. Well, yeah. I think what's really cool about that, though, is that people really overcomplicate things.
Yes.
And we think that everything we create has to be so different. And as you said, we could literally have the exact same message in so many different formats. So really, if you read my book, Get Rich, Lucky Bitch, it is like doing my Money Bootcamp, but it's not the accountability. It's not the community. So I've had people say, well, like, can I just do a book version of my course or my one-to-one stuff? And I go, absolutely. It doesn't cannibalize your work. It only enhances the opportunities for people to find you. And then similarly, so I've got, my book, my Money Bootcamp, I'll do live events. It's the same work because people need to hear it in different formats. They need to experience it in different formats. Same with my retreats, which are obviously much higher end. It's the same work. And I think we're just constantly overcomplicating things. Also, what I'm excited for people to listen to that episode about the 50 ways is that we discount what we already know. And we think everybody knows this.
Yes.
Everybody knows how to do this. And it is absolutely not true. And even still, like I'm a Virgo, oldest child, ruler archetype. I can do everything. I can say that hand on heart. I can figure out things, but I don't want to.
Yes.
I love finding a shortcut.
Yes.
I love learning from someone who's figured out a system. I love condensing knowledge, so instead of buying a course often, I'll be like, I will buy someone, like I buy someone's VIP day. I'm about to do 2 days with somebody working out my marketing funnels for the next year. I can do that myself. What I'm paying for is space, someone to hold my hand through it, someone to bounce off, someone to get me away from my house and my kids and my dogs and my cats and all the things, accountability, spaciousness, all the things.
I'm going to ask you this because this is if that same person said to you, Denise, I would love to help you with this, but I only do this in groups and we start on August 15th or September 25th and it's every Tuesday at 2:00, would you be as excited about that? Like that's, to me, I feel like there are people that want that. They don't want your group, that not that they don't love your group, not that they don't, like I happen to be in a group right now and I'm feeling guilty all the time because I'm not really participating as much as I should be, and and it's, I don't, for me, I would much rather pay the extra money and hire somebody exactly like you said and sit down. And the people listening, you guys need to hear this because somebody wants that from you. You don't have to, you just have to have it ready.
Yep.
You don't have to even have, you maybe talk about it every now and then. There's a couple different ways I work with people. We could do this, we can do this, or if you want, we can create a custom package for you. And the beautiful thing is your custom package, because it's custom, you just can make it up as you go. You can say, well, I can send a card for you at the airport and I can bring a massage therapist in the middle of the day and you can make it up as you go. So it's the most fun that I have is when I get to do that. So, important topic. And you just have to have it.
I love to, even if you're a bit scared about doing this, there's a couple of ways you can try it. So one of the ways is whatever you do, especially if you have a service-based thing, have a fast track, have a skip the queue, because especially for people like me, I am so impatient. So if I see somebody, I remember, I think it was like an astrologist or something I wanted to work with, and they said, oh, my wait list is 3 months long. And I said to her, why don't you have a VIP skip the queue? It could be double the price. So you could spend 3 days of your week with regular clients at the regular price, and you could have 2 days a week or even 1 day a week for the skip the queue VIP people. And they were like, but who would pay that? And I was like, me, because I'm impatient and I want it now.
Yes,
similarly, I had this lady who had this service where it was, you had to sign up for the month for a couple of months, and she would go through all of your audio calls with people, anything that you've done, and turn it into social media snippets. And you could get 10 a month, 20 a month, right? Her name's Claire Panacea. It's called the Golden Nugget service. And I said to her, instead of doing 20 a month for 3 months, could you just do like 1,000 for me this month? Because I have so much content. She was like, oh, I've never thought about that, because in her mind, she was like, people will want to piece this out. And I was like, I don't want to piece it out. Give me it now. In the next 2 weeks, we'll never have to talk again. And it was like she was like, I'll create it for you, right? Because there are always people who want it now, want to skip the queue, want to condense 6 months of something into a VIP day, a weekend, a private coaching. And all of those things can be done so easily. And as you said before, there was a little nugget you said, Karen, a couple of minutes ago. We said, you don't even need a sales page. And this is so perfect, because especially if you're working with people who want it now. I'll give you another example. There was a lady, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. She was doing this service where she would go through your Dropbox for you and organize it.
Oh my God. Who is she? I need her. Cool, I need her.
I know. I'll try to remember and send it to you. But she was like, she started, I think she was saying, I can do your Vimeo, I can do your Dropbox, I can do any system, right? And again, I was like, I have got so much, like, I want it now. I signed up for 2 VIP days with her. And I think even the way she'd organize it, she was like, we'll get on the phone at the start of the day and then I'll go and do it and we'll check in. And I said, I'm in Australia. I don't need to check in with you. I don't need to get on the phone with you. I don't need a discovery call for this. I was like, just do it. I'll sign up for two lots, 2 VIP days, and basically just do it. And it was so easy. I didn't need to see a sales page. She just sent me the payment link, done, right? And those are it's such an easy thing. But also, again, if you're scared to do it, why not come up with the craziest thing you can think of and just have it there? Because I think even expanding your mind of what's possible, and even if one person buys it, you go,
exactly, and just talk about it every now and then.
That is such a cool thing.
Yeah, I was talking to a high school friend of mine a couple years ago now, probably. She's a yoga instructor, and she retired from business and is doing yoga. And she said, "All right, like, what does that look like, Karen, for me?" And I was like, you know what? Oh my gosh, give me all my yoga teacher friends are like $20 a class, and I'm like, you know what? I'm I may or may not come to your class because I may or may not be feeling it. And I also may or may not feel like my shoulders can support a down dog today or whatever, because I'm not 25 anymore. So I'm a little sometimes intimidated by some of the classes, whatever. Give me a day, give me a private day where we're going to come together and you're going to ask me what in my body hurts? What do I need? What do I need less of and more of? And create some custom sequences for me. And then maybe some essential oil blends, maybe give me a massage, get a masseuse to come in the middle of the day. Like, give me a day, a yoga, a yoga, high-end yoga day. And I would rather do that than come to your $20 class, because
Sounds
then
amazing.
you can check in with me and you can say, how's it going? How are those sequences doing? Maybe we meet once a month virtually now. And, we talk about, do we need to add another sequence? Is there, do we need to progress? Right. There are people willing to do that. But we're so many women I talk to are looking for how do I charge that? Because everybody else charges $20 a class. You just do. And you'd be surprised. And then doesn't that sound amazing? Right? Isn't it amazing? Like when you start to dream up these high-end packages, they're so much more fun than trying to create something that's $50, and I can go on a tangent forever, and you're never going to be in a position, if you price this properly, you're never going to be in a position of saying, well, I can't do that because we're out of budget. Have so much budget in there that if you decide halfway through that they need, a PR strategy, that you can bring in a PR strategist and give them that too, like over deliver, and you can really just keep over delivering if you come in with a big enough budget, and everybody, it's win, win, win. So I love, more people need to talk about that too, I think.
See, already we're sparking off ideas, right? This is what happens when you get in community
exactly
with other entrepreneurs. And that's the fun thing, right? When you have your consistency in your business, which I do, it gives you freedom to play in these other possibilities and to have fun with it and be creative about it as well. So another example, retreats. Some people are really scared to run retreats, run conferences. And I found really creative ways to be able to do this without a lot of financial risk. So, for example, a friend of mine, we were just like, let's go to Bali and, offer a small retreat. Now, where people get stuck is that sometimes they'll contact a hotel. A hotel will be like, okay, you have to guarantee a certain amount of rooms. You have to pay for everything. We always went, no, we're going to go to a hotel that has enough rooms, has enough space. All we'll do is we'll book our own rooms, and we'll book, if there's usually what we'll do is we'll get a big enough villa or room that we could run it in our rooms if we wanted to. And then we pick a price, but the people only are paying for us. They have to pay their own flights, their own accommodation, right? So we've got nothing to do with any of that. And it's very, very low risk. So even if we had one person sign up, we basically paid for our own holiday. And we're besties anyway. So we're like, even if no one goes, we'll still go. Right. And that is always been such an easy way for me to run retreats. I wanted to come to New York 2 years ago to go to Broadway Con. And I just said, does anyone want to do a small group VIP day in New York? A couple of people said, yeah, cool. So I booked, again, just a boardroom. Yeah. Everyone can book their own accommodation. Everyone's grown-ups. So I sold out one 10-day, sold out another 10-day. So I had just 2 days that I had to do of work, and then I had a drinks in between for both groups. So I was like, come before or come after.
Right.
My only costs were the boardroom, which are usually fairly cheap. It was, a couple of $1,000s per person. I paid for me and my best friend to go business class to New York, to go to Broadway Con, to have fun. We saw like 7 musicals in a week. And I did 2 days of work, beautiful people, very simple agenda. And what was lovely about that, people would say, thank you so much for putting this on. Thank you so much for coming. I was like, you guys are paying me to be here. Thank you for, for this.
Right.
And I just thought, it was only a day. So it's not like I can change people's lives in a day. But again, very, very, very simple agenda. Even my 3-day retreats that I run, very simple agenda, because most of the time what people are paying for is spaciousness to think, someone to bounce ideas off, maybe meeting community, being outside of their normal life. to open up to possibilities. And I didn't have a sales page for it. Again, I was just
Right.
like, here, I'm coming to New York.
Who wants to join me? I love
Let's spend 10 days
that. I
together.
love that so much.
Exactly.
I've done that
The
around
first time
conferences,
I did
Denise.
that though,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah. Yeah, I think you're going to say the exact same thing that I did, right? Book a suite, have like 2, 3 people to come for a
Yeah.
VIP day. You've paid for your suite, you paid for your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did that. I've done that a couple of times around a conference. Like if I'm speaking at a conference, sometimes I'll be, like if it's like in Florida in the winter, and I'm in New York, New Jersey, and New York in this winter, it's cold up here. I'll book a suite and I will say, all right, I'm going to be there, and I'll book a suite a couple of days early. And I'll, if you're coming, especially if they're going to the conference anyway, we'll mastermind or something for, a day or two, whatever, before on the front, usually on the front end, because then I can work with them as they go through the conference, and then they know each other as they go through the conference. But I'm going there anyway. I was already going. It's just the bigger room, so that you have room for them. Usually that works. And then, you get a great room. Then you have a great room for the whole time too, which is always fun. So, yeah, awesome.
Exactly.
All right, Denise, tell us what is next for you. What's coming up with Denise Duffield-Thomas and Money Bootcamp and your books? What's going on?
Well, I think I'm in a period of life where I'm really focused on creativity outside of my business. So again, for me, it's that discipline of going, the business works, right? Keep on putting people in the business, keep on taking people through that program. Don't break it. That's my philosophy, right? All roads lead to Money Bootcamp. Don't break it. So for me personally, as I said to you, I think before we started recording, my kids are 7, 9, and 11, and I'm just trying to survive that. Right? I'm trying to survive. My daughter's going to high school next year.
Wow.
Yeah. All the pets, everyone takes turns throwing tantrums in the house. So I'm so grateful that I have a business vehicle that allows me to help people, but doesn't burn me out personally. I'm so, so grateful for that, especially at this phase of life for myself. So can I actually show you something I'm working on?
Yes, please. Please. I would love that.
It's so random. You're gonna be like, what the heck are you even talking about?
I'm actually going to put my glasses back on for this so I can see what you're talking about.
It's prop based. Okay, so when I was a kid, I was obsessed with dancing, obsessed with tap, jazz, ballet kind of dancing. So now what I do is I am in an adult
my goodness
ballet school, and we do lots of performing, and I make random costumes for it.
You made that costume?
My friend and I were, when I say I made it, this is a dress from like one of those cheap stores. This is another dress from a cheap store that has made an overskirt. This is like random trim from different places. This necklace is from the thrift store. And so this is my ugly stepsister. So someone's wearing pink and someone's wearing green and blue. And so I was up late last night sewing and making the wigs for this costume. That's what I do now to try and make sure. And look at these little butterflies. It's so cute. That's what
it's impressive.
So I don't break my business. I literally, I've got this massive bow on this back. It's so much fun. So I literally I go to something like 8 ballet classes a week, and I try not to break my business. And I do a ton of really ugly cross stitch. And so what's next for me? It's really, I don't know. I'm in this really delicious space of, I'm not hungry. I've made a ton of money over the last couple of years. I'm happy to tell people, like from when I started my business, I've made about $32 million. So I've invested in real estate and, all this kind of stuff. And I think sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm not that little kid who is hungry and, wanting to prove myself. And so I'm trying to learn at this phase of my life, especially perimenopause and all of those things, to calm my nervous system, to remind myself that there's space so that I'm safe. There's still a lot of healing work to do around that, to try and raise my kids to be good people, and try and be in a state of contentment. I know that sounds really strange, but
it doesn't sound strange. I mean, I feel like as entrepreneurs, contentment doesn't come naturally to us. Yeah.
It doesn't, right? Because it's like, what's next?
Right. Right. We
What's
have
next?
it. Like,
I'm
look
really
around.
trying to
You have,
avoid
right?
writing another book just yet. Exactly, to try and be content and like, let me show you my other little project that I'm working on, because again, you have to keep your little brain. I'm making this Christmas cross stitch.
Oh my goodness.
So
Wow. It's pretty.
this is my this is my new thing, Karen, is make ugly stuff, but make it Christmas. This is my new thing, right? Because this is where I'm up to. Because if you make an ugly, I don't know, diamond art, whatever, you feel so bad when it's finished, right? Because you go, what the frick am I going to do with this? So I've decided that all of my random craft projects are going to be Christmas themed, because no matter how ugly it is, you can get it out at Christmas and then put it away for the rest of the year. So even my cross stitch kits, I've got like cross stitch kits where it's like a country house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm turning them into like gingerbread houses, because now I've got so many random threads and stuff. So this is what keeps my squirrel brain.
That's awesome.
Make an ugly, yes. And so I literally take this everywhere now. It's got all my cross.
That's awesome. That's
stitch in it.
awesome.
It's just like one of those little backpack inserts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will be sitting there in the waiting room doing cross stitch. If you're sitting there on your phone, people go, oh God, she's a bad mum. This is such a great tip for mums. If you're sitting with cross stitch, people go, look at you, so mindful and creative with your cross. I'm still ignoring my kids, but it is so wonderful. So I'm not like innovating in my business. I'm literally going, here is my course. It will help you if you want it. I don't know. It's a really interesting phase that I'm acclimatizing.
But Denise, I feel like you are living your Chill and Prosper book, right? You are living that book, which is, by the way, it's a great book. If you all of her books are good books, but Chill and Prosper is a great book because it teaches exactly what Denise is talking about right now, right? Continue to make money, but you don't have to do it by hustling. You can do it while cross stitching, right? Or while pirouetting. Awesome.
Making ugly stepsister costumes.
Yeah. And at the heart of it, I love that. I love it. And there's a lot of great tips in that book. There's a lot of great tips in that book too. So thanks for all you do, because you've helped me a lot. And I know a lot of my students, I send Chill and Prosper to a lot of my students sometimes when I know who needs it, and I'm like, you need to read Denise Duffield-Thomas's book, because this book is going to help you get out of your head a little bit, and you're doing it, kind of to circle back to where we started in the beginning. You've brought $32 million into your world in the last 10 years, and you're doing it from this place of just comfort and support and chill and prosper. So I love that. You're a good role model for people like me and everybody else, Denise. Thank you for doing what you do when we run around a little too much.
Imperfection, right? Imperfection. I want people to hear that is, I haven't done any of that perfectly. I've never had perfect sales funnels. I've never had, a massive team. I've never done anything perfectly in my business, but I've just done stuff. I've tried stuff, and I think that's the key. You have to sort of go, why not me? I'm just going to try it and see, and not wait for things to be perfect, not wait for the stars to align. And, things like try a little VIP day, try and make those little offers, because you'll be surprised about who says yes. Yeah. And we're waiting, I think, for us to feel ready. And I've never felt ready. I still don't feel ready. And I still sometimes look at that and go, how have I created that much money? I've done everything so imperfectly. And I know. I don't know what I'm doing. And I've got imposter syndrome. All those things.
Who doesn't? Every new level, there's new imposter syndrome. Yeah, we could go on and on and on. All right, I so appreciate you being here. I love all the work you do. I love what you do for the world, and I'm so glad we finally got to do this. And I can't wait to continue to follow your adventures, Denise. Thanks for coming and being here with us today.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, follow me on Instagram. I do share ballet stuff sometimes on Instagram, especially my stories. And it's Denise DT.
Yeah, we'll link everything in the show notes
everywhere. So please follow me. Yes. Yeah. Great. And then, my website's denisedt.com. But thank you so much, Karen. And I can't wait to get to know your community a bit better. And I can't wait to hear that episode.
It is a good one. It was a fun one. All right. Thank you so much again. And everybody else, we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.